Have you ever loved someone in silence, watched them every day, but never found the courage to say the words? That was me. For years, I kept my feelings hidden, afraid that speaking the truth would destroy our friendship. I convinced myself that being close to him was enough, that someday, maybe, he would just know. But love doesn't work that way. Love needs a voice, and by the time I found mine, everything had already changed. This is my story, a story about loving someone too late, about heartbreak and hope, about second chances and the courage it takes to fight for them. It's about learning that sometimes we have to lose everything to understand what truly matters. My name doesn't matter, but my story might sound like yours. This is I Loved You Too Late. I met him on a Tuesday in September. He sat next to me in history class because there were no other seats left. He smiled at me, and I smiled back. That was it. That was how it started. We became friends so easily. He made me laugh during lunch. I helped him with math homework. We walked home together because we lived on the same street. It felt natural, like breathing, like we had always known each other. Years passed like pages turning in a book. High school became our world, and he became my best friend. I knew everything about him. How he liked his coffee with too much sugar, how he got quiet when he was sad, how his eyes lit up when he talked about the things he loved, and somewhere in all those small moments, something inside me changed. I started noticing things I shouldn't notice, the way his hair fell across his forehead, how his laugh sounded different when it was real, the warmth of his hand when it accidentally brushed against mine. My heart would beat faster when I saw him waiting for me after class. I would lie awake at night thinking about things he said, playing his words over and over in my mind like a favorite song, but I never said anything. How could I? He was my best friend. He trusted me. He told me about the girls he liked, and I smiled and gave him advice even when it hurt. I listened to him talk about his dreams, his fears, his hopes for the future. And I kept my own feelings locked away like a secret too dangerous to share. I was afraid of losing him, afraid of making things strange between us, afraid that if I told him the truth, everything would fall apart. So I stayed quiet. I convinced myself that being near him was enough, that friendship was better than nothing at all. We graduated. He went to college 2 hours away. I stayed in town and started working. We still talked, but not as much. Life got busy. He made new friends. I made new friends. But whenever he came home, we fell right back into our old rhythm, like no time had passed at all. One winter night, we sat in his car outside my house. Snow was falling soft and quiet. We had just watched a movie, and neither of us wanted the night to end. We talked about everything and nothing, about how strange it felt to grow up, about how scary the future seemed. Then he said something that made my heart stop. He said, "You're the only person who really knows me." His voice was soft, almost a whisper. "Everyone else sees what they want to see, but you see me." I looked at him. Really looked at him, and for one wild moment I almost told him. The words were right there, sitting on my tongue. "I love you. I've loved you for so long." But fear grabbed hold of me again, and I swallowed the words back down. "You're my best friend," I said instead. "Of course I see you." He smiled, but something in his eyes looked sad. He drove away, and I watched his tail lights disappear into the snow. I went inside and cried without knowing why. Months went by. He called less. Then one day he called to tell me he met someone. Her name was Emma. She was in his chemistry class. His voice sounded different when he talked about her. Happy, excited. Alive? I said I was happy for him. I said she sounded great. I said all the right things while my heart broke into 1,000 pieces. They got serious fast. 6 months later, he called again. He wanted me to meet her. I said yes, because what else could I say? We met at a coffee shop downtown. She was beautiful and kind and perfect for him. I could see it in the way she looked at him, the way he looked at her, and that's when I finally understood. I had loved him too slowly. I had waited too long. I had let fear steal all the chances I could have taken. All those years of silence, of hiding, of hoping he would somehow just know, they had led me here. To this moment, watching him love someone else. Emma excused herself to take a phone call. He turned to me with the biggest smile I'd ever seen. "I'm going to marry her," he said. "I wanted you to be the first to know." I felt something crack inside my chest. But I smiled, I hugged him, I told him I was so happy, and I truly was, because he deserved love, he deserved everything good in this world. But driving home that day, I finally let myself cry. I cried for the girl I used to be, the one too scared to speak. I cried for all the words I never said, and all the chances I never took. I had loved him in silence for so long that I forgot love needs a voice, and by the time I found mine, someone else was already saying the words I should have said years ago. The phone call came at 3 in the morning. My mom's voice was shaking. Dad had a heart attack. They were taking him to the hospital. I needed to come home now. I hung up and sat frozen in my dark apartment. Home was 8 hours away. I had moved to the city for work 6 months ago. Left everything behind, left everyone behind, left him. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely pack. I threw clothes into a bag, grabbed my keys. My phone rang again. It was him, I heard. He said. His voice was soft and steady. "I'm coming with you. You don't have to. I'm already outside." I looked out my window. His car was there, headlights cutting through the darkness. He had driven across town in the middle of the night. For me, like he always did, we drove in silence for the first hour. I couldn't talk, couldn't think. My whole body felt numb. He kept his eyes on the road, and his hand reached over, finding mine. He held it tight. That small touch kept me from falling apart. "He's going to be okay," he whispered. "Your dad is strong." I nodded, but tears started falling anyway. Once they started, I couldn't stop them. He pulled over on the empty highway, turned off the engine, held me while I cried into his shoulder. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. He was just there. We got to the hospital as the sun was rising. My mom looked so small in the waiting room, so tired. She hugged me hard and told me Dad was stable. He was going to make it. Relief hit me like a wave. I stayed at the hospital all day. He stayed too, brought coffee, brought food nobody wanted to eat. Sat quietly in uncomfortable chairs. When I finally saw my dad that evening, pale but alive in his hospital bed, I broke down again. Life felt so fragile, so uncertain. Everything could change in a heartbeat. That night, we sat outside the hospital. The air was cold and clean. I was exhausted but couldn't sleep. He sat next to me on the bench, our shoulders touching. "Thank you for coming," I said. "You didn't have to do this." "Yes, I did." Something in his voice made me look at him. His eyes were tired, but there was something else there, something deep and true. "Why?" I asked. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Because I can't imagine being anywhere else when you need someone. I can't imagine a world where I don't show up for you." My heart started beating faster. "We're friends, best friends. That's what friends do." "Is that all we are?" His voice was barely a whisper. "Because it doesn't feel like that to me. It hasn't felt like that for a long time." The world went still. Cars passed on the street. People walked by. But all I could hear was my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. "What are you saying?" He turned to face me fully. "I'm saying that I love you. I've loved you for years, since before you moved away, since before I understood what love really meant. And almost losing your dad tonight made me realize I can't keep pretending anymore." Tears filled my eyes again, but different tears this time. "Why didn't you tell me before I left?" "Because I was scared. Because you were so excited about your new job, your new life. I didn't want to hold you back. I thought if I really loved you, I should let you go." "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard," I said, and I was crying and laughing at the same time. He smiled, that beautiful smile I had loved for so long. "Yeah, it really is." "I moved away because I thought you didn't feel the same way," I whispered. "I couldn't stand being close to you and not being with you. It hurt too much, so I ran." His eyes went wide. "You love me. I've always loved you, always." He took my face in his hands, gentle and careful, like I was something precious. We wasted so much time, I know. I don't want to waste any more. Me neither. When he kissed me, it felt like coming home, like every piece of my life that had been scattered finally came back together. The hospital, the fear, the exhaustion, all of it faded away. There was only him, only us, only this moment we almost never had. Sometimes it takes almost losing everything to find the courage to hold on to what matters most, and I almost lost him by never speaking the truth that lived in my heart. I saw the ring by accident. It fell out of his jacket pocket when he hung it on my chair. Small, simple, beautiful. My heart stopped, then started again, beating so hard it hurt. He didn't notice. He was busy talking about his new job offer, the one in California, 3,000 miles away. He had been talking about it for weeks, how it was his dream position, how he couldn't turn it down, how he would leave in a month. I picked up the ring quietly and put it back in his pocket. My hands were shaking. Who was it for? Why had he never mentioned anyone? We told each other everything. At least I thought we did. That night after he left, I couldn't sleep. Questions ran circles in my mind. There had never been anyone serious in his life. No girlfriend I knew about, so who was the ring for? Days passed. He talked more about California, about his apartment search, about starting over. Each word felt like a door closing. I smiled and acted happy for him because that's what friends do. But inside I was breaking. Then, 1 week before he was supposed to leave, we sat on my porch like we had done 1,000 times before. The sun was setting, painting everything gold and orange. He was quiet. Too quiet. I need to tell you something, he finally said. My stomach dropped. This was it. He was going to tell me about her, about the ring, about whoever had stolen his heart while I had been too afraid to reach for it myself. Okay, I whispered. He took a deep breath. I'm in love with someone, have been for a long time, but I never said anything because I was scared, scared of ruining everything, scared of not being enough. Tears burned behind my eyes. I forced them back. Who is she? He looked at me then, really looked at me. His eyes were sad and hopeful and terrified all at once. It's you, he said. It's always been you. The world tilted sideways. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. What? I love you. I've loved you since we were 18 years old. Since that day you stayed up all night helping me when my mom was sick. Since you believed in me when nobody else did. Since you became the most important person in my world. But California. I'm leaving because staying here hurts too much, seeing you every day and not being able to tell you how I feel, not being able to hold you, kiss you, be with you. I can't do it anymore. My mind was racing. The ring. He reached into his pocket and pulled it out. His hands were shaking. I bought it 2 months ago. I thought maybe if I had it, I'd find the courage to ask you, to tell you, but every time I tried, the words got stuck. And then the job offer came, and I thought maybe it was a sign. Maybe I should just go. You're leaving in a week, I said. My voice sounded strange and far away. I know. And you're telling me this now. I know. He looked down at the ring in his palm. It's too late. I know it is. You probably don't feel the same way. And even if you did, I'm still leaving. The timing is all wrong. Everything is wrong. But I couldn't leave without telling you the truth. Something inside me snapped. All the years of silence, all the moments I had swallowed my feelings, all the nights I had dreamed of this exact moment. And now it was here, but everything was falling apart. I love you too. I said, the word tumbled out, raw and honest and desperate. I've loved you forever. I thought you only saw me as a friend. I never knew. I never imagined. He stood up so fast his chair fell over. What did you say? I love you. I'm in love with you. He pulled me to my feet. His hands held my face like I was something precious and fragile. You love me? Yes, yes. But I'm leaving in 7 days. I know. I signed a contract. I can't break it. I know. He pressed his forehead against mine. I could feel him shaking. Or maybe I was the one shaking. Maybe we both were. This isn't fair. He whispered, finally having you and losing you at the same time. I know. What do we do? I didn't have an answer. The ring sat between us, a promise that came too late. We had found each other at the exact moment we had to let go. I don't know, I said, but we have 7 days. He kissed me then, soft and desperate and full of everything we should have said years ago. It tasted like love and regret and all the tomorrows we might never have. We had spent years loving each other in silence, and now we had 1 week to fit a lifetime into the space between goodbye and too late. 2 years. That's how long it had been since he left for California. 2 years since that last kiss on my porch. 2 years since we decided that loving each other wasn't enough if the timing was all wrong. We tried to make it work at first. Long phone calls that lasted until dawn. Video chats where we just sat in comfortable silence. But distance has a way of making everything harder. His new life pulled him one direction. My life here pulled me another. Slowly, painfully, we drifted apart. The calls became less frequent. Then they stopped. We both knew it was happening, but neither of us had the courage to say the final goodbye. So we just faded away from each other, like a photograph. Left too long in the sun, I threw myself into work, made new friends, went on dates that felt empty and wrong. Everyone said I needed to move on, that holding on to the past wouldn't change anything. So I tried, I really tried, but some loves don't let go, even when you want them to. I still thought about him every single day, wondered if he was happy, if he ever thought about me, if he regretted leaving, if he kept the ring. Then one ordinary Saturday afternoon, my phone rang, unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello. Silence. Then, it's me. My heart recognized his voice before my mind did. I sat down on my kitchen floor because my legs forgot how to hold me up. Hi. I whispered, I'm in town, just for the weekend. My dad's birthday. He paused. Can I see you? Every smart, logical part of me screamed no. Seeing him would open wounds that had barely started to heal. It would hurt, it would set me back, it would be a mistake. Yes, I said, we met at our old coffee shop, the one where we used to study together in college. He was already there when I arrived, sitting at our usual table by the window. He stood up when he saw me, and my breath caught. He looked the same but different, older, tired, still beautiful. Hi, he said. Hi. We sat down, ordered coffee neither of us wanted. The silence between us felt heavy with everything unsaid. Have you been? He asked. Good. Busy? You? Same. More silence. This was awful. We used to talk for hours without running out of words. Now we were strangers making small talk. Why did you call? I finally asked, after all this time. He stared into his coffee cup. Because I miss you. Because leaving was the biggest mistake I ever made. Because not a single day has gone by where I don't think about you. My eyes filled with tears. Don't do this. Do what? Come back here and say these things. You made your choice. You left. You built a whole new life out there. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He reached across the table, stopped just before touching my hand. But I need you to know something. That job, that life, none of it means anything without you. I've been trying to be happy, trying to convince myself I made the right choice, but I can't because you're not there. So what are you saying? I'm saying I quit my job. I'm moving back home. I'm saying that I spent 2 years trying to get over you and I can't. I won't. I don't want to. I pulled my hand back. You can't just walk back into my life and expect everything to be okay. You broke my heart. You left me. You stopped calling. I know, you're right. I have no right to ask for anything. His voice cracked, but I'm asking anyway. I'm asking for another chance, a real one this time. No distance, no excuses, just us trying to build something real. I don't know if I can trust you again. I understand. I'll earn it back, however long it takes. I'll prove to you that I'm not going anywhere this time. I looked at him, really looked at him, saw the hope and fear in his eyes, saw the same love that had never really died, just gotten buried under hurt and distance and time. I'm scared. I whispered, me too. What if we mess it up again? What if we don't? He finally took my hand, his fingers laced through mine like they had always belonged there. We got the timing wrong before, but maybe that's okay. Maybe we needed to break to understand how much we needed to heal. Together, I squeezed his hand back. It felt like coming home after a long, dark winter. Okay, I said, let's try again. He smiled then, and it was like the sun coming out after years of rain. Sometimes love breaks us just so we can learn how to put each other back together the right way. And maybe that's not too late. Maybe that's exactly on time. Thank you for listening to my story. I know it wasn't easy. Love rarely is. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button. It helps more people find these stories, people who might need to hear them, just like you did. Subscribe. If you want more real, emotional love stories, stories about heartbreak, hope, second chances, and the messy, beautiful truth about loving someone, share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's loved in silence, someone who's wondering if it's too late, someone who needs hope. Remember, your story isn't over yet. Sometimes the best chapters come after the hardest ones. I'll see you in the next story. Until then, be brave, speak your truth, and never stop believing in second chances. Take care of your heart.